to drop some college knowledge on XL Primetime. Brought to you by Modelo, the official beer of the College Football Playoff.
Such a good time of the year, and it does set up beautifully for a college football playoff. Now 12 teams. Modelo bringing it to you with our XLP to the CFP, as we will name our top 12 teams. We always have an Ole, one of those teams on the outside looking in that's trying to make it to the playoffs. Safe to say some things changed this past week, but here we are, lads. I don't know how to do it. We are now in the rearview mirror, the third Saturday in November.
Just stop even saying
It's just terrible. That's how quickly it goes. But the third Saturday in November is in the books. Week 12, who's in, who's out. We got all those questions.
We still got 2 months left. We still got, because the playoffs run until what, late January?
January 20.
Nice.
Yeah, so that part's good.
That part's good. But the regular season goes too fast.
Right. Normally, we're looking at it like once we get to Thanksgiving, Ohio State and Michigan always want to play before Thanksgiving, and suddenly the season feels like it's over. Not this go around. That's true. All right, so we had some stuff happen over the weekend, and when you think of where teams are in the SEC in particular, does a Tennessee go ahead of Alabama? They beat them. Does an Alabama go ahead of Georgia? They beat them. Does Georgia go ahead of Tennessee? They beat them. And there's a lot of stuff trying to sort through right now as who should be where. So let's do it, Leon.
All right, let's start it. All right, at number 12, there's been some slippage in my brackets. I got at number 12, I got Tennessee at number 12, which means they'll be out. Boise State at 12.
Okay, so you moved them in.
All right.
Huh?
That's your Ole.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at 11, I got Notre Dame. They played Virginia and had a big win against Virginia. So I'll give them I got Notre Dame's at 11. At 10, Georgia. Georgia's back in my polls. Where they belong. Absolutely where they belong. That thumping that they gave Tennessee lets me know that they're back. And at number 9, I got the Lane Train. Ole Miss at number 9.
All right, my Ole is SMU, but it's tenuous. Because it very easily could be Miami.
Yes.
So it's very close there. That game, winner goes to the playoff, loser.
Simple as that.
Out.
Not worried.
I'm just laying down the law.
No, I know what you're doing. The ether. That's what you're trying to do. Put it in the ether.
All right, my 12 is Boise State. I had them in the top 4 a couple weeks ago. I kind of feel like the Canes will right the ship. This is really just based about projections more than anything at this point, the top 4. And I kind of feel like the Canes are going to right it. So I got Boise State at 12. I got Penn State at 11.
Okay.
Penn State, everyone, has beaten no one.
Where they are.
No one. They have not beaten a team ranked in the CFP top 25. Oh, by the way, neither has Indiana, neither has Texas. Not beaten teams. Those 3 teams have combined for 30 games this year, to play 30 games. Not one against a college football top 25 team. Think about that.
It definitely
win, I should say, because Penn State obviously played Ohio State and lost.
Yeah, but it hurts your
and
argument.
Georgia and Texas played Georgia and lost. But there's not one win among those guys against a top 25 team.
Right.
That's not good. That's no bueno. That's why at number 10, I've got Indiana.
Okay.
Now, Indiana can clearly make a statement by beating Ohio State. And I actually even think that at Indiana, let's say they lose 31-20, they are in the playoff. It's over. Because they'll beat Purdue, they'll go 11-1, they're in the playoff. They'll be one of the at-large. Guaranteed.
Is it that they're in the playoffs because
they have 11 wins?
The committee wants to see someone new instead of putting.
No, because they're from the Big Ten and they have 11 wins. That's why they'll be in.
Okay, all right. I mean, because there's someone.
And before you guys say that, well, that's not right, I agree with you. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. That's all. I'm just preparing you guys for this, okay? Not only that, at 11-1, they'll more than likely be among the top 8, which means they'll host a playoff game. So someone from the South is going to have to go to Bloomington, Indiana on December 20, and it could be snowing, and it's definitely going to be cold.
Well,
and then you got to win that game, man.
I have no hesitation in keeping them. So is that that was 12-9?
No, that's not. I'm not at 9 yet. My point is, we have to understand that these games now are so critical because you're talking about teams hosting games.
Yeah.
It's the difference when playing a game in the 50s or playing a game in snow. It's a big deal right now, these games. All right, so they're my 11. My 10 is Notre Dame. And Notre Dame, they got Army this week at Yankee Stadium. Then they got to go travel to L.A. to play USC. And you win those 2 games, you're in. You lose either one of them, you're out.
Right. And it's dangerous. That's 9.
That's 12,
Yeah.
11, 10, 9. Right.
Yeah, I was making sure you had that right. All right, so when you talk about it, and they are the committee looking at all these possibilities of where regional games could actually take place, eyeballs and all that stuff in that first round, which would be hugely important as opposed to what we're used to. All right, I got a couple of Oles. I don't have any problem keeping Indiana out right now until we find out what they do against Ohio State.
Good for you.
Okay, they're 106 in their strength of schedule, so I ain't doing it. And then the other couple of Oles, I still have Miami on the outside looking in. I had them 12th last week. I bumped them out because somebody else moved back in. I think we can figure out who that is. So Miami's an Ole, and you know who else is an Ole? The Buffs. Okay, they are right there knocking on the door. All right, so I got Boise State 12th. They doubled up San Diego State 42-21, no problem there. And Mr. Ashton Genty just keeps getting it done. 10 games right now, 1,893 rushing yards and 26 touchdowns, both numbers leading the country. Notre Dame 11th because of what you guys just said. Easy win over Virginia. Now the two games that Maddie just laid out. There's always one team in my top 12 that I just don't have anything next to it because you can't do anything. You can't justify them being there, but you also can't toss them out. And it's Penn State, to your point earlier. I've got them 10th. There's nothing I can say. They had a chance to beat the Big. They didn't, and they still have a chance to stay alive as a one-loss team. And then I have Alabama, number 9. This is where it gets tricky, trying to figure out who beat who.
It's interesting how you're working those 4 teams.
It is.
All right.
It is.
Those
Their
4
biggest
SEC teams.
Yeah,
That's
their biggest wins. Their biggest wins are over Georgia and LSU, and they obviously have a chance to step back into the title picture. Milroe being Milroe again, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to put them 9th right now.
Okay, my number 18 is Alabama. It had nothing to do with them beating up on Mercer, but had a lot more to do with them beating Georgia and them beating LSU. So Alabama is back at number 7. For all the reasons y'all say, I still got Penn State at number 7.
Okay.
All right. Even though they haven't beat anybody, I kept them there. I had them there last week, too. My number 6 team is Indiana. I put it, they undefeated. Now, they beat Ohio State.
That's the problem right there.
I know.
Right there.
I
What he
know.
just said, that
I
line,
know.
they're undefeated.
They're undefeated.
Which is that's what the selection committee's thinking, Leon. Is
If they're
they're
undefeated-
thinking, well, they're unbeaten because there's coaches on that selection committee.
Yeah.
So the coaches are, believe me, I've been in this thing. I went through a mock, so I know what happens in these meetings. The coaches are telling everybody in that room that the non-coaches, it's difficult to go unbeaten. I don't care who you play.
How tough it is.
So now the committee now is putting this high value on a team whose best win is against 6-5 Washington.
Yeah. And hey, listen, this is one loss surge back.
I've been undefeated twice, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's hard.
No, I know it's hard. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is they've played one team with a winning record. One.
True. You're right.
All right.
I agree with that. All right. Well, they got a chance to prove themselves this Saturday.
They do,
because
absolutely.
the team that's in front of them at number 5 is Ohio State. All right. So that's going to be it. If they beat Ohio State, but I believe, like you said, if they make it close, they're going to be in. If they get blown out, then they might be gone.
If they get blown out, they might be gone. You're right. If they lose like 49-7, then they might be out.
Right out the door.
But
All right.
I have a feeling it's going to be like, I don't know, 33-16, and they're going to stay in.
All right, 8-5. We got them all.
All right.
Yep.
Let's go 8-5. I got, and this is really interesting because we all have to figure out where we have these 4 SEC teams. So at 8, I got the Vols.
Okay.
I didn't like putting them there because they did solidly beat Alabama. It was at home, but it was a very nice win. But I got the Vols there at 8. I've got the Dogs at 7. Big jump for them. And I mean, you have to put Ole Miss over Georgia. I cannot ignore that 18-point win. I can't. You could say Georgia's playing better. Carson Beck's found himself. That defense has always been good. They were on the field a lot. I wouldn't disagree with any of that. I'm not ignoring that 18-point loss. There's no way I can ignore that. No way. And then I've got Ohio State at number 5.
Yeah, I think we're all very similar in kind of the order and argument that we all are putting out there is who beat who and when did one team lose to the other. Quality ones on the road versus at home. The Vols, I have 8th, just like you. I've got Georgia 7th because they just beat them. I'm going to put them ahead of them. And then obviously Ole Miss is going to be ahead of Georgia because what happened. But I still have Ohio State 6th, tucked in there. They beat Northwestern 31-7. And it does obviously come down to this big game to see if they can separate, set up their little title run, maybe a rematch against Oregon. And then I have Ole Miss coming off the off week. Now they're heading to Hogtown, and this is going to
You got Ole Miss at 5. Nice.
I got Ole Miss at 5.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like that.
4-1.
All right. Number 4, Well, essentially, these are the teams that you assume is going to win their conference. Right, all right?
That's correct.
So, number 4, I got prime time. I got Colorado. I got the Buffaloes. Listen, I've been watching them the last couple of weeks, and I see their schedule. I think that if they have to play BYU or Iowa State, they're going to out-athletic them. I think that defense is playing better. Shador is playing better. The whole team is playing better. So, I got prime time the Colorado Buffaloes at number 4. At number 3, off their punishment, the last couple of weeks, I kept them out. Miami's back at 3. All right? Listen, I can't reward bad behavior. Can't reward it. So I got them back at 3. At 2, I got Texas, and at 1, I got Oregon.
Yeah. All right, 4-1, Maddie.
All right. You guys have noticed that I don't have Texas in my. You haven't heard Texas.
I haven't heard
right?
Texas yet.
And you haven't heard Alabama either, right?
Nope.
All right. Just making sure you all know that. Number 4, Canes.
Okay.
I got the Canes as the projected ACC champion.
All right.
Number 3, I've got the Colorado as the projected
Both of y'all are doing it.
Big 12 champion.
And I'll do that for that because I kept them on the Ole, but I don't mind that at all.
Number 2, I've got Alabama as the projected SEC champion.
Projected
Number
SEC
1
champ that lost to
is unbeaten Oregon. Yeah.
Is number 2.
Yeah. I think Alabama is probably at this point. Either Alabama or Ole Miss is the safest bet, I think, to win the SEC. And Ole Miss is not going to get to that championship game. It's just they need so much help. It's not going to happen.
All right, 4-1 for me, and I'm fighting it too because I want to see more. But right now, I just got to go with what I got. I'm still keeping the Lashleys of the Lone Star State in that number 4 spot. So SMU is 4th right now. And when you look at the losses, Miami's loss versus who SMU lost to, which was a close game to BYU. I'm just going to keep them 4th. BYU, and I put barely Brigham Young because of what you guys talked about,
Kept
moving
them
Colorado
in, huh?
up.
Wow.
Okay. Now they just lost to KU. It was a close game, but it was at home. And you take a look at their overall schedule, not that impressive. Just a game better record-wise than Colorado. But it's the big loss that Colorado had to Nebraska earlier in the year that's kind of hurting them just a little bit. That was a big
they beat
knock.
SMU on the road.
Yeah.
Big win.
It was a big win.
They beat K-State. Nice win.
But it was just a big knot in losing that game, okay? And you take a look. BYU, their strength of record, BYU is 53rd. The Buffaloes are 73rd. So that's the only reason for the here and now. But Colorado, I'm a fan of the Buffs, period. They're on the come. All right, number 2, Texas, because even though they didn't cover, they won by double digits in Vietnam. That's one of those great games and settings. Texas versus Arkansas. Quinn Ewers, not a great game, but I'm still going to put them in that number 2 spot. And then Oregon, unbeaten, tested by Whiskey. Whiskey fired their offensive coordinator coming out of that game because they couldn't generate any points. So they didn't have any O against the team with the O on their helmet. And at least Oregon might have been served, hey, here's our wake-up call in Wisconsin. And we'll find out. But they're back on a collision course with Ohio State. And who do you get the feeling would win that football game now? Ohio State or Oregon?
Oregon.
Okay. All right. So they're still rocking along. All right. There it is. Our XLP to the CFP.
What's interesting is, in my poll anyway, the 2 teams at the top of the SEC right now with 1 loss each, Texas and Texas A&M, they're not in my poll.
Yeah. So you see the fact that you kept the horns out and you put Bama up there, and Bama it's not an ugly loss. When you lose to Diego, you don't have to apologize for it. But
I can't get over the loss to Georgia at home, the way they got beat. Okay, I can't get over Ewers and Manning sitting on the bench. They wanted no part of that defense. The look on their face was shocked. That's number 1. Then number 2, what really kind of sealed it for me was, man, they scored 20 points at Arkansas a week earlier. Ole Miss scored 63. The same field, same team.
But everyone, and you guys hit us with this 641-1010. Everyone's got to ask the same question: is Georgia getting right at the right time? Would you want to play them? Ole Miss, what they did to Georgia still counts. Is Alabama over the hurdle and back to playing good ball? All those questions are fair. And Tennessee, come on, man. You had a chance. You had that lead, and you couldn't hold it in Athens. So, all right, you guys let us know what you think. Our XLP to the CFP brought to you by Modelo, the official beer of the college football playoff.
Hey guys, Taylor Doll here. Thanks so much for watching 1010XL. If you're looking for even more great content, head over to our 1010XL Jaguars page or one of our college football pages.